Right, to reflect on US-Africa relations and the potential impact of the election results, former US Ambassador to Tanzania and Chairman of the African Presidential Leadership Center in South Africa, Ambassador Charles Stith, joins me in studio. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming.
Good evening. Great to be with you.
A lot of excitement, some tension. The stakes are pretty high. I mean, it's been described as a neck-and-neck race with no certain outcome as the entire world is watching. What stood out for you?
Well, you know, as we've gone into this election season, a conversation that I had with the late, great Julius Mwalimu Nyerere came to mind. Mm-hmm. He said, given how much of importance it is of who becomes president of the United States, everybody in the world ought to get to vote.
Yeah.
You know, it's an interesting thought. And I think it has some substance, because this election is going to be as big, in this case for Africa, as it is for America. You know, I think if Kamala Harris is elected, we'll see a smooth kind of segue from what we've seen with the Biden administration. Yeah. As you know, she was on the continent earlier this year. Yeah. And I think we'll continue to see the administration under Harris work to engage Africa, not just in terms of aid, but in terms of trade and investment. Under a Trump presidency, when he was president the last time, he expressed very clearly what he thought about Africa and the countries on this continent. So I don't think there's much in the way of expectations, positive expectations, should he win tonight, which I don't think he will.
Well, it's, you know, one of the commentators who reported and was speaking on one of the packages said, anyone who says with certainty that one or the other will win is really making a statement that's far from the truth. But I'll hold you to it, and we'll have to call you back when the outcome comes out. But what effect do you think a Trump presidency, should he win, will have on the AGOA Act? I mean, that in itself is an important centerpiece.
Well, you know, my sense is that there is a ground swell of support for AGOA in the Congress, both the House and the Senate. And in that regard, while we're focusing on the presidential race, all of the House of Representatives is up for election. And there's a strong sense that Democrats will regain leadership of the House. The Senate is a little too close to call. Mm-hmm. So my sense is that the push for AGOA from the congressional side will continue. But the bigger issue is not AGOA as it is, but AGOA 2.0. There's something that's going on in the world today which is unprecedented, and that's this green energy transition. Mm-hmm. To date, China has dominated the space in terms of critical minerals needed for that transition, both in terms of resources and processing. The real alternative in order to secure supply chains is Africa. Yeah. Whether you're talking about graphite, which I know a little something about, lithium, manganese, cobalt, rare earth minerals, they're here on this continent in abundance. And I think if under a Harris presidency, I think that you'll see a more aggressive push on the part of the United States to partner with Africa, to partner with African business people in order to access those critical minerals, and to do it in a way that it's good for countries that have those minerals, as well as it is for those countries that need those minerals.
What gives you that level of certainty? You know, when you say you don't think that Donald Trump will win, is it because you don't want him to win? How are you backing that?
No, I think there are a number of factors. Yeah. One, the Harris campaign she's run a good campaign. Mm-hmm. She really has. There's a lot of enthusiasm around her campaign, and we saw her numbers bump up dramatically from those for Joe Biden. Number two, she stayed focused and on message. And number three, her secret weapon in this campaign has been Donald Trump. This past week, this has been one of the worst close of a campaign that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. For the last 3 weeks, almost every day that Donald Trump stood in front of the microphone mm-hmm. with the Klieg lights on, he gave voters a reason to go, nah, I can't vote for this guy. The other thing is, when you looked at his most recent rallies, there are quite a few empty seats. So it says that the momentum is not with him at this point. So I think she's going to pull this out. I think it'll be close where we expect it to be close, and she'll do very well where we expect her to do very well. You
said the focus has been Donald Trump, and she's said quite a bit on the warnings against a Trump presidency, really just bringing out emotions and reminding Americans of what happened in 2021. And she has spoken quite a bit herself about women's rights, reproductive rights, and really had that message resonate with the almost 54% of the women voters. What about issues like the economy? What about immigration, which Donald Trump has spoken about very aggressively? Well, to start with the last point first, immigration. I think she has done a pretty good job of pointing out something that's very obvious, very real, and very important on the issue. Mm-hmm. One of the most conservative members in the U.S. Senate led the Senate in crafting an immigration bill that got strong bipartisan support in both the Senate and the House. And the Democrats were prepared to vote for it. Biden was prepared to sign that bill. And Donald Trump called his folks in the House and said, kill it, because he wanted it as an issue on which to run, rather than letting the Congress and the president do their work and come up with a piece of the solution to this issue on immigration. As it relates to the economy, this is one of the areas where I don't think the Harris campaign has done a good enough job. Donald Trump has painted himself as somebody who presided over a great economy and someone who was the reason, I am the one. That the great economy that existed during the early years of his presidency was his doing. And the fact of the matter is, that was the economy he inherited from Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. Obama took office in 2008. We forget, when the global economy was imploding as a result of the banking crisis. He rescued not only the American economy, but the global economy. And when Trump came into office, the economy had rebounded and was robust. This is the fact that I think the campaign should have hit home on. The U.S. presidency, as is the case of the presidency in any country around the world, is defined by the ability to deal with crisis. Mm-hmm. Every issue that comes up to the president is one of those oh my God issues. Everything else gets dealt with at another level. COVID was an oh my God issue. Absolutely. Trump failed miserably. He's talking about the price of bread today. Mm-hmm. What people forget is that as a result of his policy relative to COVID, there were food lines miles and miles long. The unemployment level had reached depression levels, and he had absolutely no plan to turn the economy around, except when it came to COVID. One of his suggestions was injecting bleach. Now, you can debate masks, you can debate shutdowns, you can debate anything you want to debate, but there's nothing to debate about injecting bleach. Absolutely not. So as we really just, take a look at what history could mean, history could be made depending on which way the vote will sway. Kamala Harris will be the first of many. The first black woman president, the first woman president. That in itself, is quite groundbreaking. It is. And I think it's something that represents a positive sign
I have a daughter. She's the president of my company. I'm very proud of that fact. And I also have 4 granddaughters, and the youngest of which is 13. And for her to be able to witness the inauguration of a woman who looks like her as president of the United States sends a signal that the sky is the limit. That's a good thing. But at the end of the day, as important as that is symbolically, folks don't eat symbols. They eat breakfast, they eat lunch, they eat dinner. And so for the presidency of Kamala Harris to be a judge, to be successful, there's a strata in America, in South Africa, who have taken several hits over the last 25 years. We have short memories.
Yes.
We forget that 9/11, though the impact of the terrorism was on the United States specifically, it was a joke to the global economy. There's a whole strata of people that were hurt by that. Then came the banking debacle in 2008. Those folks who were hurt in 9/11 hadn't fully recovered by 2008. So bam, they take another hit. Then you have COVID 10 years later, and those folks are still on the ropes. We've got to commit ourselves in the United States. The next president, I think, will be Kamala Harris. And the top of her to-do list,
yes.
She's talked about Trump's revenge list, the top of her to-do list is to help those folks who play by the game. They play by the rules every day. They get up, they work hard. We've got to offer them a pathway to success and security.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming to studio to speak to us.
Pleasure.
Of course, making good on that promise to bring you back in studio once the outcome has been announced of the elections. Speaking there, reflecting on the U.S. Impact of these elections is the former U.S. ambassador to Tanzania and chairman of the African Presidential Leadership Center in South Africa, Ambassador Charles Stith.